What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today we have some exciting news to update on Overstock. There's been a lot happen over the last few weeks, and we're going to get right into it today. Now, for all the newcomers, firstly, I just want to say welcome and thanks for joining. I believe Wall Street is absolutely missing the huge potential which could run up, and I think we're only just starting to see that. At $30 a share, which is currently where Overstock is trading, there's still huge amounts of value that Wall Street is missing, and this is particularly within the Medici Ventures portfolio. But there's been some recent news in Bed Bath & Beyond, and that's the main news we're going to be talking about today. So if you guys are an Overstock shareholder, make sure to drop a like, share with some friends, because we need to get as much exposure as possible. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'd muchly appreciate that. But let's get into the recent news of Bed Bath & Beyond. So moving over to this article, Bed Bath & Beyond, we can see, just sold to Overstock for $21.5 million. And that's caused a huge stock share price of over 20% in Overstock. So what's happened is Bed Bath & Beyond have sold their IP. And what is IP? That's their intellectual property. And that's for the assets which they bought for $21.5 million. So that includes their website, the Bed Bath & Beyond name, and other trademarks, including their customer list, which could potentially unlock 25 million new customers to Overstock. And this is where the value is absolutely huge. So obviously there's been a huge recognizable brand in Bed Bath & Beyond in home, and Overstock's name, Overstock, is primarily towards kind of leftover items or Overstock, as we know, but they've been transitioning into the home sector, and this is where Bed Bath & Beyond's name will be extremely valuable in my personal opinion. So when we scroll down a little bit further, obviously Bed Bath & Beyond have been declaring bankruptcy earlier this year, which has led to the potential for Overstock to buy this business at a great discount. So the deal has officially closed, and it was shut on last Friday, I believe. But this doesn't include the Bye Bye Baby chain. The Bye Bye Baby chain is a separate thing, and this is where we are only focused on the online market of Overstock, where there is actual the stores and all the housing areas. We don't own any of the actual stores themselves. It's just a fully online presence of Overstock. So what will happen is, with the actual Overstock Bed Bath & Beyond name, they'll end up moving fully to the Bed Bath & Beyond name. So as we can see here, there will be a name change out to Canada, which has actually already happened, but I can get into that in another article later. So where this is so powerful is particularly the mobile app of Bed Bath & Beyond and Overstock. They'll be able to leverage these synergies between both businesses to expand their revenue range massively. So like you see here, combining the strengths of the Overstock operational model, which uses a drop shipping light business model, this allows Bed Bath & Beyond and Overstock to combine those synergies to be more profitable and expand margins for both. So I'm extremely excited for this opportunity, because I think this is going to be absolutely massive, not only for the revenue and numbers section, but also the share price appreciation and the exposure we're going to receive with the Bed Bath & Beyond name, because this business has been in business for over 40 to 50 years now, whereas Overstock is still widely unknown. And I think Bed Bath & Beyond's name has huge amounts of potential behind it. Overstock released a conference call actually explaining that they were going to use the Bed Bath & Beyond name. And they then outlined exactly their strategic plan and also what they were going to do to manage the Bed Bath & Beyond brand. So we can see here in the presentation that they released that there was a few points on their agenda which they wanted to make, mainly over the transaction overview of what they bought and what they didn't buy, and then their strategic rationale, and then the integration plan to expand the Bed Bath & Beyond name and increase Overstock's revenue. So let's get into the actual transactions overview, because I think this is one of the main important sections. So to further my previous article that we just read, we can see what it's going to include mainly is the customer and loyalty data. And I think we need to just expand on this a little bit further. So one thing that Jonathan Johnson mentioned, the CEO, he let us know that the customer and loyalty data is so large that even if there is small overlap in terms of the actual Overstock customers and the Bed Bath and Beyond customers, that the still amount is huge compared to actual Overstock's amount of customers. So I think this will be a huge growth driver in trying to retain a lot of these Bed Bath and Beyond customers. And while I think it's unlikely that we're going to end up actually taking all the customers, even if we were to gain 40 or 50%, that could still potentially double to even triple Overstock's current revenue range, depending on just how well Jonathan Johnson is able to execute the plan. So to further this, another area which was spoken about was the United States and Canada website. So the Canada website for Bed Bath & Beyond is already up and running, and that is already going to start increasing that revenue for Overstock within Canada. But the US application and website is most likely going to be launched in either August or September, with the potential where they're going to remodel everything in July. So again, great news. Now, the other thing to add is the vendor and SKU data. Again, we're going to gain huge amounts of new vendors and SKU data, which just expands all the ranges of Overstock's actual names. And that will again give that customer more options, and then the potential to buy and offer more discounts and make more money in terms of the different SKUs that are open to customers. The other thing is trademarks, as we mentioned, the name and the private brands which we now own, which we bought under that $21.5 million. So that $21.5 million range was entirely funded with the cash on hand. And this is a main factor that I've spoken about in previous videos, which Overstock have over $375 million in cash sitting on that balance sheet. And this is where the optionality, which was a point I made in a previous video, and we've just used some of that cash to potentially double or triple Overstock's revenue. And I can't point out enough just how significant this is, because with companies like Wayfair that are burning over $250 million a quarter, and their marketing expenses are already huge, they can't be affording to make these mergers and acquisitions, which is exactly where Overstock lies. They can now play offense and then start to gain back that market share. And the Bed Bath & Beyond deal is going to be huge when it comes to this. Now, the next thing to consider is the strategic rationale of how Overstock are actually going to start to implement all the different strategic points to gain that market share, which they're so desperately wanting to expand that revenue and ultimately the profitability of this business. So they laid out a fairly recipe for gaining market share, as we can see here, and this is going to be mainly through the Bed Bath & Beyond well-known brand, and this is going to come from the high unaided brand awareness. Bed Bath & Beyond is number 5 out of the top 25 retailers in the category, and we've already got a high emotional connection to the brand because they're so well established in this market. They've got exposure to more than 20 million, which I already mentioned. And also the demographic is towards a younger demographic. And this, again, is a certain sector which Overstock has been lacking. They've been looking at a lot of boomers, and essentially we're going to gain new exposure to a new demographic. And then what we do is you then overlay the Overstock model, which is an asset-light and efficient operating team. They offer smart value, Overstock do, again with a wide assortment of furniture, rugs, and then also indoor decor. With the growing recognition in the past as well, and the just general reputation of Overstock paying their vendors well and at a fair price, this is another thing that's going to gain a lot of traction with the Bed Bath & Beyond name as well. Now, the final point is the integration plan, and this is probably one of the most important as an Overstock shareholder. We want to see exactly what the kind of timeline is in terms of the launches and how this is going to scale out throughout this year and next year. So they have a fairly brief timeline, but we can see in phase one in July, which is basically tomorrow, that the launch in Canada is amazing. This is already taking place. They're again going to be preparing for the launch in the US, and they're onboarding new partners and assortments as we speak. They're then going to rebrand the club loyalty program to a welcomes rewards program, which again ties in with the Bed Bath and Beyond system. Then we move into phase two, and we've got the August and September range. So again, we're looking at launching the actual website and then the mobile application in the US in August to September. And that's going to enable that new brand identity with, again, improving the key assortments and the partners that they're going to establish. We've then got Labor Day, which could be another huge revenue driver. So we're going to want to get this up and running, hopefully. Then the third phase is obviously looking towards Q4 of 2023, and then obviously we're looking at 2024 at this point. So they're going to just continue to keep building out the assortments and then transitioning to that one brand, which will obviously be Bed Bath & Beyond. And then obviously there's going to be future opportunities for growth. And I think this is where potentially Wayfair's demise comes in. Because they're burning so much cash, and if Wayfair was to go bankrupt, I wouldn't be surprised if suddenly Overstock comes in with a bid to buy their customer list and then maybe take a few other parts of Wayfair eventually. But maybe I'm thinking a little bit further down the line, so stay tuned for further videos if you want to see more of this. Now, this is just the retail business, and like I mentioned, Overstock has something within which a lot of people are already missing. So if I'm valuing Overstock's retail business alone today, I think it's probably in a range between $50 and $60. You then add the cash on that, which they have about $8 to $9 of cash. So you're potentially looking at a $70 stock just for the retail business, and with the potential synergies with Bed Bath & Beyond. And this could potentially be higher with just how well Jonathan Johnson's able to execute. But I think there's real value here, and at $30, we are getting an absolute steal. But I need to talk about a little bit about Medici Ventures for the people that have absolutely no idea what is hiding in Overstock's business model. Now, in my last video, I talked about GrainChain. They recently just raised $29 million. And in the last couple months, we heard about Medici Ventures Day. And one thing that they spoke about was that GrainChain grew over 300% in Medici Ventures Day. And then to add that, they're expected to grow another 100 or triple figure growth once again this year. Mark Cahoda's on the Spaces call last night also estimated that GrainChain would most likely be a $1 to $2 billion valuation today. And we own 20% of this company. And the ag tech GrainChain is absolutely a massive market. And this is a company that essentially allows the transactions of suppliers to the end, and that's all done through the blockchain. They essentially are identifying exactly what people are buying and what people are receiving when it goes to market. And they do this through the blockchain and their website app, their mobile app, that allows them to essentially confirm the identity of goods and to stop counterfeit goods from essentially going in. And this could be applied to lots of different things, not just food, but I think the ag tech space is so large that the market share there is absolutely fantastic for GrainChain to grow. And how this will work in terms of how Overstock can make money or shareholders can make money is this can be spun off in either an IPO or they could be bought out privately, and this will essentially be an impact on Overstock's balance sheet. We could potentially see this being bought out for, let's say, $2 billion. As we own 20%, that could mean $400 million gets injected straight into Overstock's balance sheet. And this is where we have huge potentials, because Wall Street have absolutely zero idea that this business exists inside Overstock. Now, following on from GrainChain, probably the largest and most significant company in the Medici Ventures portfolio is tZERO. And again, in my previous videos, I have broken down this, but for all you new guys, we just need to stress that we own 55% of tZERO, and this company could potentially be worth, in my opinion, 20 billion plus. And we own 55%, let me just say that. We have the number 3 of the ICE exchange, and ICE own 20% of this company too. They put their number 3 guy, David Goon, at the helm, who turned down a $5 million salary in order to gain equity of 8% of tZERO. So he is very well and very significantly incentivized to perform and out-deliver for tZERO. He's going to want to get out of this company and make a lot more money than he was potentially going to be earning at ICE. So I think this company is potentially going to be massive as a shareholder, but we just need to be a little bit more patient. We had Mark Cohodes on a Spaces call last night tell us that tZERO need to get their technology right, and I think we just have to go with him. He's saying potentially a 1 to 1 year time horizon in terms of when we can expect to see that tech being rolled out, but I think that's a fairly generic range, and that could be longer, could be shorter, I don't know. But I think tZERO is going to be coming up with some news very soon. And I think people again have this business completely written off. And this company essentially enables liquidity through primary and secondary markets. And this is a completely blue ocean strategy, if you've ever read that book, where they're doing other things that other businesses such as the Coinbases of the world, the Binances of the world, they are completely getting fucked over. And this is because tZERO is the only SEC and FINRA approved exchange. And this is where we have such a benefit, because so many people don't understand this business, but eventually they will, and eventually time will be the realization that this stock is seriously undervalued. So yeah, I'm obviously incredibly bullish on Overstock, and the recent share price, I personally believe, is only just the beginning. Going from $17 to $30 is just a start. And to be honest, it actually makes me feel sick, because I think this company should be closer to $70, $80, $100 right now. And I think this will eventually be the case. We just need to be patient and wait it out for things to turn around in our favor. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe, like if you haven't already, and share with some friends, because we need to get as much exposure of this company as possible. So if we have any further updates, I'll be sure to come out with some new videos. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.